Yo, welcome everybody back to the JV Sports Room. As usual, your host, JDino, the other half of the team behind the scenes, my man Vince.
Yeah.
Back for another one in studio. Big body boy himself. Big J, welcome back.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to be back, man.
Yes, sir. See you with
Been
the
a long
Phillies
time, man.
fitted, though.
Hey, had to dust it off.
Brought it out.
I had to, man. Hey, you know, y'all know my story, man. I'm Yankees fan through birth, pretty much, but when I say the energy in Philadelphia, coming out of Philadelphia, it's reaching the nation right now. Like, it's hitting us here in Florida. I had to dust off the Philly fitted, man. It's
Bring it out, man.
I mean, starting with the NLCS, man, with that walk-off home run from Bryce Harper. I mean,
oh, my God. He's looking like an MVP
he's
right
looking like
now,
an MVP, man. Now it's trickling into the World Series, man. They had a big game the other night. So, hey, the Phillies are looking like the front runners for the World Series, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, it's good karma because, I'm a big Eagles fan. So, I'm just, it's good karma.
A lot going on in Philly about now, man.
For sure.
But yeah, man, a lot going on in sports in general right now. Trade deadline just passed in the NFL. Huge. We'll get into that in a few. NBA season, we're a couple weeks in now. Getting fun over there, too.
Yes, sir.
But we're going to kick it off in the NFL right now.
Yes,
Had a big Monday night game. Actually, we had a big Monday night debacle. We'll call it that. Don't know exactly what's going on with Cincy right now. They're going through a real roller coaster this season.
I know somebody who does.
Oh, you know somebody who does?
I think I do.
Hey, why don't we bring him on? JV team member, Stokes. Welcome back to the show, my man.
Man, not much. I'm up here trying to deal with the fact that both of y'all teams better than mine right now. That's all.
Hey, man, the NFC beast are definitely taking over right now. Hey, but you guys were looking good, man. Up until this past game, I thought the Bengals were coming on strong, man. Who Dey Nation went into Who Dat Nation and beat them a couple weeks ago. And then you guys go and beat the Falcons the week after. You guys were steamrolling. Joe Burrow was looking great. Jamar Chase was looking amazing. And then Jamar goes down. So talk to me about what's going on in Cincy right now, Stokes.
Well, I mean, everybody saw what the issue was last year. It was the offensive line. And, we went out, spent a lot of bread, I think close to like $80 million.
Yeah.
And for some reason, them first 3 weeks, man, we were still having issues. Now, granted, a lot of the guys didn't play during the preseason, but, you put up 80 mil on the offensive line, some stuff just can't carry over no matter what the excuse is. So, we struggling still up front. Joe Mixon not getting going. The defense, we struggling this year, but, when you got Jamar, you got Boyd, you got Higgins, and then we got Hayden Hurst, the offense has the potential to go through the roof.
Right.
But, with Chase going down, for almost, they said 4 to 6 weeks, and that's a hip injury. So,
right.
Hips are they unpredictable and they could be career threatening. So
true indeed.
Without that speed on the outside, man, we down several notches on offense, that's for sure. And it showed against Cleveland.
It really did.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head. It has to start with the offensive line. You spend all the money bringing in the guys that you brought in to elevate the offensive line and protect your franchise quarterback and Joe Burrow. And
it's looking just as bad, if not worse.
It's even worse. Yeah, for sure. It's like
29 sacks on the season.
There you go.
That's how many times Joe Burrow's been sacked.
You ask yourself, when you bring in an offensive line, you either want one of the two things. You either want a really good run offensive line that's going to establish the run, or an offensive line that's going to protect the quarterback and pass protection.
Right.
And the Bengals get none of that. They can't run the ball.
Right.
They can't protect Joe Burrow. We said it months ago, saying it's hard to get back to the dance.
Yep.
And we seeing that unfold with our own eyes.
And I'm more of a realist. Everybody enjoyed the ride that we had last year, but and everybody will tell, anybody that wins a championship will tell you it comes with a lot of luck, skill and luck.
Right.
Nobody, you could have bet every man in the world, nobody would have said Bengals and the Rams was going to be in the Super Bowl last year.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
If they would have told you that, you thought they was crazy. So, on both sides, we're looking at it like, what happened in what game to get them here. And I'll tell people all the time. In the NFC game, San Francisco had the game won on an interception, but the guy dropped it.
Right.
That's facts.
That's true.
And after that, it was what it was. We were down 21-3, and I left the bar I was at. So I was like, well, it was fun while it lasted. And then Kansas City just dropped the ball the second half. So, you got to play the games, but, nobody saw that coming. But, they tell it all the time. It's hard to get back. And especially it's even harder for the loser because history has proven nobody comes back. once you lose, guys don't come back like that. So,
So with that being said, man, and you seeming, a little bit down on your Bengals right now, right? Got a lot going on in the AFC North. The Ravens got a 1-game lead on you guys right now.
And they
Cleveland should be getting Deshaun Watson back in the next couple weeks.
That's not going to be good.
Pittsburgh is revamped, at the bottom right now, but revamped with the young core and Kenny Pickett and George Pickens with Najee Harris.
And we lost to them, by the way. So that hurts even more.
Exactly.
So did Tampa.
That was the worst game to almost win.
so did Tampa. Don't worry about it.
So talk to me, Stokes. Tell me your prediction on this division. Are you guys coming out of this division, man?
Somebody has to.
And it's as talented as this division is at quarterback, it's weird because we all saw what Lamar did like the first 3-4 weeks. Like everybody was like, man, get a man his $300 million.
That's a fact.
And like the next 3 games, they was losing games in the fourth quarter. Granted, it could be defense, but it was a couple games we saw Lamar was forcing the issue that he shouldn't have been. And, he wasn't getting the numbers that he was getting the first couple weeks. So it's like, with him, it's always fire in a bottle. So I'm never putting it past them to fail unless injuries take them over like they did last year.
Right. Which they're starting to rack up on again.
They're starting to rack up on
injuries again.
They still struggle. They still don't got JK back. So
Right. Gus Edwards went down. Rashad Bateman's been in and out, right?
Cleveland is a wild card because honestly, I don't believe they really had expectations this season. Right. You get your quarterback back in week 13, like you at that point, it is what it is, But I think we're going to see a lot of potential that they can build around.
Right.
I know they was talking about they were trying to trade Kareem Hunt, but that didn't happen.
Right.
But he'll probably be gone next year. So I mean, it'll probably be a whole different ball club.
The rumors about Kareem Hunt potentially being traded. I think this Monday night game was a telling game for the Kareem Hunt potential move. Them running y'all through the mud on Monday night kind of made them think to themselves, okay, maybe we lose Kareem Hunt in the offseason, but we do get this boy Deshaun Watson come later in the season. Maybe we just ride out with Kareem and Nick Chubb as the best running back duo in the league.
Why not?
And scrape together some more wins until Deshaun gets back and see what happens. Because as we all can see, the division is still up for grabs.
It's up for grabs. I mean, Cleveland's a couple games back. I mean, but they have an all-star quarterback coming back. So there's no telling what they can do. And that defense is playing amazing. 5 sacks this past night against you guys. I mean, not only did they run you guys through the mud, but they drug Joe Burrow through the mud the entire game.
Weirdly, I like Cleveland's. On paper, Cleveland's roster to me is the most talented in the division. But they just can't put it together right now. I mean, granted, the drop-off from Jacoby Brissett to Deshaun is probably night and day. And then, like you said, you got Kareem. First of all, you got Nick Chubb,
NFL's leading rusher,
who was the juggernaut in my mind.
Yeah. Right.
Shout out to Alex for wanting him in every fantasy league this year.
And then if he go down, you got another All-Pro type talent in Kareem Hunt. Of course, if I'm a GM, I'm like, I'm not trading you if I don't have to.
Right.
I guess it depends on what they reckon to be when Deshaun gets back, but I would put my money on Cleveland just because you lose with us losing the star power that we lost, and then not even having a hint of it looks good on the horizon with the offensive line. I just don't see us doing much.
Yeah, I mean,
Somebody,
Jamar
man,
Chase is
I'm
4 to
still
6
shocked.
weeks. They saying 4 to 6 weeks for Jamar Chase. I mean, it's probably gonna be the late, the later end of that because who knows.
And-
But they didn't put him
and
on the
that's-
IR. That is the positive thing.
We in the that's going into the second or third quarter of the season. So
Right.
at that point, playoff positions is getting determined. So it's just like.
So you telling me right now, if you had to pick, you taking Cleveland to win your division?
No. No, because they just it's too much. Because what we in this week 9?
Yeah.
So they still got 4 before Deshaun come back. I think Baltimore will just take too much of a lead, even though they not gonna look the strongest. Baltimore, they got Lamar. As long as they got Lamar, they're gonna be all right.
You just think on paper Cleveland is the most talented in the division?
That, hands down, I think
Okay,
Cleveland's
okay. But Baltimore wins this division, you think?
Baltimore is probably gonna take the division. We might sneak in at second. I almost don't even want to see us in a wild card this year. It was too stressful last year, man.
Yeah.
Way too stressful.
I will say I think 2 teams make it out of the AFC North. My early prediction about the AFC West, just scrap all that.
Oh my goodness.
AFC North, I'm thinking 2 teams come out the AFC North.
I can see that. I can see that. Hey, Stokes, before we get you off, the NBA season tipped off, man. And those Cleveland Cavaliers are looking good right now, man. Right now, second in the East, only behind the Milwaukee Bucks. Donovan Mitchell, 5th in the league and scoring. Talk to me about your Cleveland Cavaliers.
The greatest trade that happened this offseason was the Donovan Mitchell trade. Of course, it didn't get a lot of splash because he didn't go to New York.
Right.
But I think people, if you pay attention just to basketball as a whole, if you saw what Cleveland was doing for 85% of the season up until they just collapsed, that team was doing a lot with little.
Very little.
Right. They was top 4 for a long, long time against some really great basketball teams. And not only that, they're doing this without Garland.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Garland been out since the first game of the season, which I believe that's only been a gift because Donovan's getting comfortable with the rest of his teammates. He's averaging over 30-something points a game. It's just like, he's on one right now.
5th in the league in scoring, 32 points a game. Donovan Mitchell. Gotta love it, man. So you tell me, how far do your Cleveland Cavaliers go this season, man?
Well, you got the Nets are in shambles. 76ers probably in shambles. So those are 2 teams that everybody had top 4, top 5. I give us top 4 in the East, man.
I like it.
Top 4. I mean, we young, dude, and we still got Donovan for 4 more years.
Yeah. Right.
And the unspoken addition that came last year was Karis LeVert, and he's coming together now.
Yes, sir.
Getting incorporated with the team.
Agreed.
So,
man. Yeah, man. Nice young core. You guys are definitely gonna be good for a long time. Can you guys make a finals this year?
We got to beat Milwaukee first because that's the team to beat coming out the East right now.
Okay.
I don't, until I see what we look like against them after a few games, I will say we can be the 2nd or 3rd best team out the East.
Yep.
But finals, I got to see what we look like against the Greek Freak, and ain't nobody stopping that guy.
Okay, so is that your finals pick? Is that your finals pick?
My finals pick right now, until we play them, is going to be at least Milwaukee out the East.
True indeed. All right. Well, it's early. We ain't gonna ask for a championship pick yet, but we good with that for now.
Yep.
Stokes, man, appreciate you coming on JV Sports Room again, man.
Hey,
joining us for another one.
Always a pleasure, y'all boys. Hey, Big J, if Philly pulls it off and the Eagles pull something off this year, that'll be dope. So,
yes, sir. I appreciate that.
But hey, I need the Eagles to whoop the Cowboys both times. That's all.
You know what's coming, man.
And Jay, y'all got to come back. Y'all got to come back and beat them next time when the Giants play.
Yeah, you got it, bro.
Y'all got caught. Y'all can't let Cooper Rush beat y'all, bro.
Nah. We good, man. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Hey, we're gonna do what we gotta do, man. We gotta do what we gotta do.
Y'all boys be easy.
Stokes,
I appreciate
be safe,
y'all
bro.
having me, man. All right, man.
Hey, be safe out there, brother.
Yes,
Traveling
sir.
the world, international drummer.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate Stokes coming on, international drummer, loyal Cincy's fan, but he thinks Baltimore's winning this division. So Let's talk to somebody that just lost to Baltimore just recently. Let's bring our Tampa fan back. Greg, what's up, man? Welcome back to the show, bro.
It's a whole different aura now that your Giants are actually winning games. So,
Yeah,
I see more
Little
pillows.
confidence.
The whole
a little bit more
thing.
jovial.
So we're talking football again.
Yeah, man. Don't really need to know what's going on in Tampa, and we've talked about that on past shows. All I really need to know is, are you guys even coming out of this division right about now?
I mean, I still think we got it. We got a chance to win the worst division of football.
It's crap.
With that being said, even if we make it out of the division, I don't know how far they can go. Our Super Bowl year, right about this time, everybody counted us out. Everybody said the BUCS are done. We got destroyed by the Saints twice. So there's still hope. Anytime you got Brady, I know he's older. I know, he's that age, that stuff's falling apart.
Right.
But really his accuracy is probably, he's still got an arm. He can still get it downfield. They look disjointed though.
They do.
I've seen Evans running outs and Brady throwing in, and that's the part that scares me more than anything.
Real quick, throughout Brady's career, I mean, we can point at leaders, Bill Belichick for years. Okay, even moving to Tampa, Bruce Arians was a leader, was a focal point with the team and more so the offense. This year, okay, Todd Bowles, I can give him the respect as a head coach, former head coach in the league, but he's probably not touching anything on the offensive side.
Nope.
Now we're looking at Byron Leftwich. Does Brady respect Byron Leftwich enough? I think maybe I'm reaching on something, but something's off, and I'm looking at what is the relationship between Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady. Tom Brady was one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, and Byron Leftwich was, let's be honest, just a guy in the league.
Yeah, for sure.
Trying to tell this guy how to play quarterback.
I think it's distractions more than dysfunction.
Off the field. Yeah.
Yep.
And Brady has always been the most prepared guy, the smartest guy in the room, the most ready guy in the room. And there's just too much going on. There's and rightfully so. He's got a 13-year marriage, kids, wife. Any of us were in that spot, you're going to spiral.
Yeah.
So now that's all out. That's all public. Everybody knows where it's at. You still got AB doing his stuff, which I think is just mental warfare.
Right.
Because obviously you don't know what really happened there.
Right.
But it's, we got to buy week 11. If we don't have the ship right by then, it's just going to go down, and we'll thank them for our ring and move on to whoever the next guy is.
Yeah, sure indeed. So doesn't look like you guys are really contenders for the Super Bowl, I would say, at this point in time, right?
Not strong contenders.
Who you like, though?
Who do I like? Out of
Who
which?
do you like?
I mean, anybody that doesn't say Buffalo is lying to you. They still got to get past the Chiefs. And that rematch and hopefully the AFC Championship game, hopefully it aligns that way, can go either way. Because I'm not going to bet against either one of those teams. Out of the NFC, Philly's fool's gold. Fool's gold? No, I mean, Philly's got as good a shot as anybody. Yes. Minnesota's playing good football, and they just picked up a weapon. So I don't know. That division is really Minnesota's. So they're right there. Philly's right there. I mean, I don't think the Rams have the team. The Bucs shouldn't have the team. So really, whoever makes it out of the NFC is just getting a ride to the Super Bowl to watch whichever team from the AFC makes it.
Call it what it is. It's the Philadelphia Eagles and literally everybody else. Right. In my honest opinion, that's my media broadcast position on that. And put my Eagles hat aside. It's the Eagles and nobody and everybody else. I mean, we beaten yes, they do get a weapon, which we'll talk about later, but we've beaten the Minnesota Vikings already. Like, they really haven't shown it week to week. No. But going back to the AFC really fast, there's a sleeping giant out there and not too many people talking about it. Like, everybody, the easy answer is Buffalo, Kansas City. Easy. But don't sleep, and we're definitely going to talk about them later, but don't sleep on the Miami Dolphins, man, who just so happened to beat Buffalo earlier this year.
All right. So let's stop let's talk about it later. Let's move on to some of these trades that just happened right before this trade deadline that is putting those Miami Dolphins and some of these other teams now in contention.
Yeah.
Started off with those Miami Dolphins, right? They bring over Bradley Chubb from the Denver Broncos. They send over a first-round pick, Chase Edmonds, and a fourth-round pick next year, I believe, right? How you guys feel about that deal? What does this do for these Miami Dolphins?
That move was to beat Buffalo and Kansas City.
Right.
And you got to go back. All these picks come from when they traded down and trade Lance, which anybody that's a Niners fan can't be happy about where it's at now. Obviously, looking back, there's a lot of organizations that would change a lot of things. You know,
it even goes deeper than that. If you go back even further, when Laremy Tunsil pulls up with the bong in the draft, Miami Dolphins end up taking him, okay? And then they use Larry Tunsil and trade him to the Houston and use Houston's pick.
Oh, man.
It's a long, but yes, you are correct. Trey Lance ends up being Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and now Bradley Chubb.
Sheesh, how much can these Miami Dolphins eat off of San Fran in one deal?
I mean, that's what got it. They're playing fantasy in reality.
Yes.
That's what they did.
Yes.
True indeed.
I mean, that's...
And I love what Miami did, man. You know, they wanted to let these Buffalo Bills and Kansas City Chiefs know, hey, we're still here. As a matter of fact, Buffalo, we're the one that gave you that one loss this season. So don't forget, we're still here.
No, for sure. No, Greg hit it on the head. It's that move, the Bradley Chubb move was to get after Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills and to get after Patrick Mahomes. You know, you have the back end help with Xavier Howard, and you needed a little bit more. You got Melvin Ingram, who you brought in as a free agent this offseason. And now you addition of Bradley Chubb, who's been very slept on. Not too many people know about Bradley Chubb. I mean, he was back there with Denver and under the radar. And now I think we're about to see him when the lights are the brightest.
But if you replay that game in Miami, play it 10 times.
Yeah.
How many times did Miami? Buffalo should have won that game.
Facts.
Yes,
now they didn't.
They
And you
should
give
still be
Miami the
undefeated
credit.
too.
Right.
But Buffalo had every opportunity to win that game.
Very true.
That's very true. And my only knock to said matchup, Buffalo at Miami or in Miami, would be, could Miami, now we're getting into, wintertime, could Miami, a Southern team, go up to upstate New York and Buffalo and put that work on them?
There's no way.
I'm just saying, Sleeping Giant is the Miami Dolphins.
For sure.
Favorite.
But that's not playoff football.
Right.
That doesn't get it done in the playoffs.
That is 100%
That's
true.
facts. And remember, Greg is our betting guy. Okay, so
yes.
he's not betting against Buffalo that week for sure. But you mentioned the T.J. Hawkinson addition for the Minnesota Vikings. That's huge too in the landscape of they already have a great passing offense. They have a offensive coordinator which is pass heavy, and they bring in a great passing tight end. What does this do for these Minnesota Vikings?
There's one thing that's going to hurt the Vikings: primetime football.
There you go.
And we know what Kirk Cousins does at primetime.
That's a fact.
And that's until he proves otherwise. I'll fade him every time he's on primetime.
Yeah. And be careful. You're saying great a lot. T.J. Hawkinson, good tight end in the league. I wouldn't say great. Good addition. I mean, poor Irv Smith just can't stay healthy. I mean, his whole
Out
career
8
is
to
just
10 weeks, so that was perfect timing.
His whole career is just injured. But yes, great addition with bringing in T.J. Hawkinson. Gives Kirk Cousins another weapon.
Excuse me. Maybe I misphrased it. I meant great addition, good tight end. Excuse me. I think it's a great addition for that team.
No, for sure. And maybe now in a new home in Minnesota and maybe better quarterback play can unlock T.J. Hawkinson, and he could become eventually what we all probably thought in fantasy football, a great tight end coming out of Iowa.
And to be honest, I think one of Tampa's biggest problems is tight end.
Yeah.
So we don't have Gronk. And that changes that's security blanket and changes the offense. So if you bring Hawk to Tampa, I think that's a 9-day move.
Absolutely.
Why Tampa stayed still? Why Green Bay stayed still at the trade deadline?
Couldn't tell you.
Makes no sense to me.
Couldn't tell you at all. But another big move, since you guys mentioned the 49ers earlier, Christian McCaffrey going over to the San Francisco 49ers for a second, a third, a fourth, and a fifth next year, right?
Whole draft next year.
Yeah, basically
So
this
it's
whole
either in
draft.
Miami or Carolina.
So how you feel about Christian McCaffrey becoming a 49er? I mean, he proved that he can do it all this past game, right? Triple crown, passing touchdown, receiving touchdown, and rushing touchdown all in one game. The guy is the ultimate dual threat.
CMC, it's easy. It's health. If he's healthy, he's going to be a beast. He's going to change the game. He's going to change the game out of the backfield. I didn't even know the guy could throw touchdown passes. Apparently he can do that. I mean, he is as good as anybody on the field.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Carolina let him go.
Right.
And if he stays healthy through the playoffs, you got to watch San Francisco.
Yep.
I mean, there's no – San Francisco is good.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to go on record to say, since we were talking about all these contending teams, I got the 49ers going to the Super Bowl this year.
I couldn't argue
Based
that.
off of that move right there.
I wouldn't argue that at all. I will say this. I think this move, monkey see, monkey do kind of thing. you know, watching the Rams for years, they see, I see what Cooper Kupp can do. Now the 49ers have their own version of Cooper Kupp with Christian McCaffrey, a do-it-all guy, give him the ball as many times as you can, but you got to be careful about the injuries. But granted, yes, did they pay a lot to get Christian McCaffrey? In my opinion, yes. For an aging running back who has injury history, absolutely. But it doesn't matter how expensive it is to get into the party. If you get there and you have the time of your life and have life-changing memories,
it
doesn't matter.
That's the Rams.
Yeah.
That's the Rams. That's the BUCS.
Yeah.
Ask any team. If you win it all, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Agreed.
It doesn't matter how far it puts you behind.
Right.
San Francisco's biggest problem is the same problem they had last year and the year before. They still got Jimmy G.
Right.
And is he a good quarterback? Yes. Is he a great quarterback? No. Could he do what Flacco did? Sure.
Absolutely.
But is that the guy you want to go to the Super Bowl with? Probably not.
We'll see.
You ask any Niners fan.
Christian McCaffrey.
They were all excited for Trey Lance.
For sure.
And now what do they got?
They thought he was going to put him over the top.
McCaffrey can make an average quarterback into a really good quarterback. So that's a really good addition.
That's a very big fact. One thing I will say, though, is I feel like they should have held on to Jeff Wilson, who was also traded at the trade deadline to Miami. So now Miami has the entire 49ers backfield from last year.
It's just East Coast Niners.
Right.
They got the coach, they got the players, they got the picks, and the real thing about the Miami, how much was McDaniels making Kyle Shanahan look like a genius?
Fact.
There you go.
Because ever since he left, it looks like San Francisco's offense is in Miami.
Yes, sir. It goes to a lot of teams, man, losing all the offensive coordinators, man. We don't really know how intricate these guys are in the development of offenses and game plan week to week. You know, it's asking a lot. And I'm telling you, man, Miami is I'm a fan now. I have to say, I'm a fan of the Miami Dolphins.
They've got the pieces. They definitely got the pieces.
I mean, you talk about teams desperate, like you mentioned the Green Bay Packers, desperate for wide receiver help. And Miami has two of them. Get it? Two of them? Two of them. How do you guard that speed? I don't get it. But.
Well, you actually bring me exactly to my next topic. And talking about teams that are desperate for wide receiver help and who gave up their entire defense and Robert Quinn and Roquan Smith.
Yes.
And they bring over Chase Claypool for a second-round pick. What are these Bears doing, guys?
They're hanging on by a thread. but there was a lot of smoke about Smith, and it always sounded like that was going to happen. They knew he wasn't going to re-up, so they're bringing in a quality receiver that they need because Mooney, is he good?
It's not a one.
Yeah, but he can't be the guy.
Right.
But is Chase Claypool a one?
He's better than their next option.
Built like it.
So he's got the traits. He's got the size. He's got the speed. He can catch the ball.
Very true.
And also, if you look into the background, the rumors, the internet, Twitter, who knows what's really true, but they said Green Bay offered a second for Chase Claypool. And then the Bears' second, they assume would be better.
Way better.
So not only did they block the Green Bay Packers, so there may be more than just bringing in a guy. You're also blocking your big brother and division rival.
Very true.
That is every year the team you got to beat.
I didn't mind the Roquan Smith deal. I love it for Baltimore. Granted, does it 100% help their passing defense in the second half? No, but Roquan is a sideline defender, tackler, can play the run, play the pass. It's a great addition for Baltimore. Will help them towards the playoff push. But the Chase Claypool deal, I get it. Yes, you need a weapon. But unless I'm just making stuff up, is the Bears even involved, in the realm of making a playoff push?
No, that's definitely a move for the future, I would assume.
You move a second-round pick for Chase Claypool, for what, really? At the end of the day, for what? To grow with Justin Fields, I get it. Cool. I applaud Pittsburgh Steelers because you use a second-round pick to draft Chase Claypool. Right. You get what you can out of him, and you replenish with probably an even better second-round pick. The pick you get from Chicago, projection-wise, should be a good pick.
Top half of the second round.
Yeah. And at the same time, the fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers get to look more into George Pickens now as their alpha over there. And Chase Claypool is kind of out the way.
We kind of called it, on past shows talking about when Chase Claypool came up to announce the pick. He announced George Pickens and his replacement at the end of the day. So I just don't. I mean, the Bears, they're just a bad organization.
I mean, they also made another deal that was terrible for their organization. They literally handed the Philadelphia Eagles some more pass rushing and Robert Quinn for peanuts. They get back a 4th-round pick.
Conditional, yeah. It's hey, I'll take it. You
the rich just get richer, huh?
You can't have too many pass rushers, man. You can't have too many pass rushers. Again, that deal, the Roquan Smith deal, those deals signal to me a team that's looking to rebuild through the draft. Realistically, what has Chase Claypool done in the league other than one splash game against the Philadelphia Eagles with his rookie year and a couple splash games? I mean, he's not showing consistency week after week after week of being an alpha. I mean, he's
right. Well, there's a reason why Pittsburgh let him go.
Exactly.
And anytime you pay for a guy that a team's willing to let go,
right?
Pittsburgh does a pretty good job of drafting wide receivers.
Absolutely.
Okay, look at their track record.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably the best organization in drafting wide receivers. So they got something to figure out how to draft these guys.
Yep.
But they got Pickens, who was really fell because of injury, and he's going to be their one.
Yep.
I mean, 1A, 1B with Deontay. That it's a different player.
It's a 2 steps forward, 1 step back for me. The Chicago Bears in a whole. I like the 2 defensive moves. Chase Claypool, yeah. I mean, it's cute.
He doesn't do it for you.
It's cute. It's cute.
But you mentioned teams wanting to get rid of receivers. So that takes me to my last receiver, my last trade that happened before the deadline. The Atlanta Falcons finally dump Calvin Ridley, send him over to the Jags. I think it's a decent move for the Jags because, they're still looking for the future.
Yes.
Talk to me about this. What did this deal do for you?
I mean, he's got to come back before anything matters. He's still a good. He's an old young guy.
Right.
Because he come out older than most of the guys.
Right.
He's talented.
Absolutely.
But it'd be interesting to see what the league allows.
Yes.
Is the league going to blackball this guy? Is the league going to... I mean, they already made an example out of him over something that is so petty.
Come on.
That there's a lot of other stuff that's going on in the NFL that's getting a lot less punishment.
Yep, for real. You just don't put on a jersey. You might get blackballed.
Yeah. Hey, well, give me a check and I'll put a jersey on.
No, you hit it on the head. I love it for Jacksonville. If like you said, if they reinstate him and he's the Calvin Ridley who we've known to grow and love as a receiver, it's great for the Jaguars. It's great for the development of Trevor Lawrence. He comes back to Florida. He's a Florida boy naturally. So it's
there was conditions on the pick too.
A lot of conditions.
So I didn't see the exact list.
It's
but I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a 5th, and then it's a conditional 4th, and the 4th can become a 2nd, if a long-term deal is striked.
Right. Which means he has to come back and show that he can do it. So it's a win-win.
A lot of conditions on those picks.
Yeah. But let's not sweep it under the rug. This was the most exciting trade deadline we've seen ever. I mean, recorded 10 trades, most ever trades during the trade deadline ever.
But
I had fun.
The NBA couldn't let it go.
They could.
Because that's what it felt like. It felt like an NBA trade deadline. But the NBA had to say, hey, this is our show.
Yeah.
You can't take everything away from me.
What'd you say? NFL, hold my beer?
Exactly.
All right, so since you did it for me, we're going to cross over into the NBA a little bit and talk about how these Brooklyn Nets were doing everything they could at the NFL's trade deadline to outdo them, right? And seemed like getting rid of Steve Nash and bringing Ime Udoka in all in the same day.
Right.
But it goes back way deeper than that, huh?
It does. And I don't know if they were trying to outdo them as much as they were trying to make noise without it being noise, knowing that there's going to be so much attention on the NFL.
Right.
We're going to make this move. We're running Nash out because the players didn't want him there. And now we're going to bring in one of KD's old buddies who used to coach him in Brooklyn before they brought in Nash. So now that we're going to open up that whole can of worms, there's so much drama behind the scenes that's gone on. Why Boston would be willing to let this man, who seemed to be one of the best up-and-coming coaches, away for no compensation.
Made the finals a year before.
Yeah, I mean, this guy had everything pointing in the right direction. The players loved him.
Yeah.
Obviously, probably some people in the staff loved him. We're not
in the front office.
Back office.
It's all rumors, so we don't want to point fingers at anything. But there's obviously a reason why they suspended him and didn't allow him to go. Because now they're taking money away. If they fire him, he's already in Brooklyn. he would have been in Brooklyn before the season started.
But my question is, why does he take over this situation with everything going on? Kyrie not wanting to be vaccinated. KD wanted to be traded. KD doesn't want to be traded. It's Nash or me. Like, there's just so much dysfunction in that organization. Ben Simmons is out again. Because who wants that?
He could be the savior.
Mm-hmm.
And how much does an NBA coach make?
A whole lot of money.
Right? Where else is he going to get a shot?
Right.
Because a couple weeks ago, everybody kind of said he was out of the league. Right. Nobody's going to touch him. No owners are going to hire him. Well, now Brooklyn, I mean, they're such a mess. They got two of the best players in the league, and they can't win, what, two games so far this year?
2-6 so far.
Right.
Kyrie's back in the news for negative off the court issues now.
Who really wants that? I guess if he can come in and change the culture of that organization, then you got to consider him as the coach of the year again, right?
Yeah.
You know, that would definitely show that great coaching can lead to success right there. But you're not a Brooklyn fan.
I'm not. I'm a loyal Orlando Magic fan, and I'm frustrated with my team, no doubt. Any of us that live in Orlando,
all right,
love the draft. I love the draft. Okay, the last two drafts, Franz is a guy I'll admit I didn't see it, but he's playing.
He's out there playing point guard for us right now.
Again, it's a Magic draft. The guy that's supposed to go top 4 slides to us, and we're ecstatic. And now the guy that went 4 is really the guy that we need. So that's just that's Magic fan 101.
Right.
And
you got to accept that as a Magic fan.
Yeah. But during the draft, I said I had the ABC theory. Anybody but Chet. And that's, I would go, Jabari is going to be a solid career guy. He's going to make some All-Stars. He's like a Al Horford.
Right.
He's always going to be a dude on your team, but he's never going to be the number one guy. Yeah, he's not going to be a franchise changer.
He's not going to be a Paolo, though.
And he's scoring out there. You know, the last 2 games, he hasn't been as good. But, you're going to hit a wall as a rookie.
Right. Absolutely.
And the expectation just kept going up and up and up and up. He's not gonna average 25 this year.
No way.
And
he's not gonna have near triple doubles every game. But he's gonna give you all he's got. Last show, Alex said they got them one. He can definitely be an all-star, right?
Right.
So how far can he lead these Orlando Magic this year?
Depends on how healthy we can be. J.I. is not healthy. Fultz is not healthy. Suggs has been in and out. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Cole Anthony's been in and out too.
Cole Anthony's been in and out. The one that really concerns me is J.I. because he's 2 years that he's been out.
I forgot.
More than that.
And I love the guy, and that's the type of the play. But we don't have. Paolo can score,
right?
But he can't do it all by himself.
Right.
And every game we are in until we get to the last 6 to 8 minutes of the game, and then I don't know if it's tightness, if it's nerves, if it's just the learning curve. But it's just like. We were up like 10 the other night to OKC and still lost by 9-10 points. And that was late in the game when we were up.
Crazy.
So they got to get the culture. And I don't think Mosley. I don't think it's his fault.
That was going to be my question to you.
We're not pointing the finger at Mosley yet.
When do we start pointing the finger at Mosley, or is it too early for that? Like, what are we doing?
I mean, his MO is he can develop guys.
Right.
So Franz. We've developed. Yes. Is he top 5 in the league? No. But is he better than everybody thought he would be?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Paolo looks like he's on that track.
Absolutely.
We got Bol.
That's who I was just about to say. Speaking of developing.
I got it. I got to eat it here. I didn't think the guy was going to be as much as he is. He's still perennial. He's a big, long, lanky. I'm not his biggest fan, but I was wrong on what he is right now.
I love what he is right now. And to see his development along with Paolo at the same time, that's what makes me have a lot of faith in these Magic going forward. They've got a couple guys that could turn out to be some all-stars. I mean, Bol is out there blocking 3-pointers like every single game.
Well, we're not going to say he could be an all-star because that's a stretch.
It's a stretch.
But we're a trade. We need a trade. We have too much of a long gem. For a while, we had all these big guys, and now we got guards everywhere. And you can't develop guys when they're only getting 2/3 of the minutes that they should be getting.
Right.
Or they're not even on the court to develop. Fultz looked good.
Yes.
When he come back. He looked good before he got hurt again. But he's never going to be good if he's not on the court.
Not on the court.
So
I think they just need to get a nice solid rotation. I think they've got a good core 8 to 10 players that they can really run with anybody in the league, man. I think Mosley's got to get that rotation right, personally.
right. It's somebody's got to step up. Somebody's got to be. There was games last year where Cole in the fourth quarter went lights out.
Right.
But you can't have that for 3 or 4 games and then they disappear. And then you have it for 5 games and then they disappear.
You said somebody has to step up, but I also think somebody needs to take a step back in the sense of, you mentioned the log jam at guard, like when hopefully everybody gets back healthy, which one of those guys are going to be willing to take on that secondary role and say, okay, I'm going to lead that second team, be a 6th man or 7th man off the bench kind of vibe, like.
And also, with Bol playing as well as he has, do you keep him in the starting lineup? Do you continue to run a big lineup?
I mean, I think that's based on matchups.
Right.
So depending on who you're playing, the biggest thing is you still got to have. There's no guy that we can go. Here's the ball.
Go get us a bucket.
Go get your bucket.
Mhm.
Can Paulo be that guy? 100%. But he's 6 games, 7 games in. He's not there yet.
Right.
And everybody in the NBA is good. So you know what? When he starts making the noise, I don't think it's coincidence that his last couple games haven't been as prolific as the beginning.
Agreed.
Because guess what? Now you get the attention of everybody.
Right.
People see the Orlando Magic on the schedule saying they circle that. Oh, I got the kid.
Oh, the number 1 picks in town.
Play him.
I'm going to show him.
Mhm. So Alex and I were talking, and we think the Magic can make the play-in this year. Is that far-fetched?
Could they? Yes. I don't think they will. They're still trying to win games.
Yeah,
we're in infant stage right now. We're still weaning off the breast. It's gonna take some time. I think play-in is too far-fetched in my opinion.
Yeah.
Unless they're wheeling and dealing and do some trades and we're able to get some upgrades across different positions.
Who would you bring in?
You mentioned I don't know.
The guy that I don't think would happen, but I would have loved it, and he just signed a big deal. Jordan Poole.
Ooh.
He would be perfect for
I
this
said
team.
the same thing.
Yeah,
Perfect.
You're gonna want somebody young, that's
because he could come to the team as that guy. Let's face it. In Golden State, as long as Steph Curry's there, he's never going to be that guy.
Right.
I like that, Cole.
I think that would be an amazing trade. Magic. Why not put a couple of these young pieces together and send them over to Golden State? Bring Jordan Poole over.
Give him Suggs and J.I. Or I mean, it's too early to give up on Suggs.
Right.
But you still have value that you can move him for.
Right. Definitely one of those guards for sure.
Or Cole and J.I.
Right.
Or Mobamba.
Mobamba's definitely expendable.
And then Kuminga's out there that is not getting in the rotation, and he's starting to chirp. So there's players that can be
some moves that can be made.
Hey, Orlando Magic, go find Golden State right before the trade deadline.
Right.
We want to see Jordan Poole over here.
Right.
But since we mentioned the Golden State Warriors, and we also mentioned the fact that the Magic are not in contention, talk to me about who you like this year, maybe making a deep playoff push or maybe in this finals.
I mean, I'm going to go back. I talked about him last time I was here, and I love what Ja does over there. And I think that team, I think they're still one piece. Why don't they go get Crowder, who's sitting out there? I don't know where he's sitting, but he ain't at the games. You know what I mean? And they're not playing him. There's obviously friction there.
He'd be good.
But
nice vet player.
I think that's a team that you can't count out.
Right.
I think Dallas with Luka, every time he's on the court, looks better and better. You can't count
leading the league in scoring right now, almost 37 points a game, and still averaging 9 assists a game. So he's incredible.
Let's talk about my biggest surprise in the NBA: Utah Jazz.
6-2
Who's seen
right
that
now.
coming? Who seen that coming?
6-2 after trading away all their all-stars.
All their all-stars.
Yeah.
And they got guys just out there, they're hungry.
Yeah.
So
Playing hard.
They got guys.
how are we doing that in Utah, but we can't get something like that in Orlando?
Right.
They still got Conley. He's still that dude.
Right.
You know what I mean? They still got Clarkson. Clarkson's another person I would love to see come to Orlando.
True.
We need that guy that can just instant offense.
Go get us a bucket, man.
For what it's worth, I know Stokes was on earlier and he said, the East, everything runs through Milwaukee.
Does it?
I think it runs through Boston.
I think it runs through Boston.
I think it runs through Boston. We saw the growing process towards the end of the season, leading into the finals run. Yeah, they didn't get the end game like they wanted, but I think Jason Tatum's development, now he's in that tier of, okay,
He's in the MVP category.
superstar,
Right.
top tier player in the league type.
I mean,
vibe.
Giannis is the best guy in the league.
Right,
So you
right.
got to give them their respect that they're always going to be out there.
Right.
But team-wise, I don't see a better team than Boston.
Yeah.
When you look at top to bottom rotation,
Right.
who's better?
And it's the thing, we mentioned the UDOKA, I mean, seamless transition. Joe Mazzulla steps right in, another young coach, and they're still rolling. They're still.
I do like what Boston did. I feel like they brought in the exact piece they needed in Malcolm Brogdon to help that offense.
Bingo.
Actually, to help that team in general.
Right.
The defense more so.
Yeah,
More so.
he's a great defender
Still,
as well.
Once I get Williams back, they're going to be that much better.
Right, exactly. So no disrespect to Boston at all. I think they're going to be great. But I think the Greek Freak, I think the East runs through him. That's me personally. So we're going to do our Who You Got this time a little bit different. Since we're talking about these NBA Finals, I want to know who you guys got in the NBA Finals this season. Early season predictions, guys. What you got?
It's chalk, but I think it's a rematch. I really do. I think Golden State is they're still getting disrespected. Okay. And they have such a young core behind those guys
Right.
that they have the core we want,
Yes.
not counting the all-stars that they have with them.
Thanks.
You know what I mean? And Boston, top to bottom, I think in a 7-game series, Giannis has to go complete freak mode, triple-double every night, and you still need Middleton to go out there and get you 20, 25, 30 points. So is anybody scared of Brook Lopez? No. You know what I mean? You can't stop Giannis.
Right.
But you know what? You can foul him and make him shoot free throws all
That's a
game
fact.
long, and he's not as effective at the end of a game.
Right.
He's the best first 3.5 quarter player in the world. But when you watch him at the end of the game, if they're not up by 10, 15, 20 points, it's hard for them to close out a game. It goes to Middleton. It doesn't go to Giannis in the last 6 minutes.
It does, and he'll be back. And those Bucks are already starting off the season undefeated. So that's who I'm going with personally. I got Golden State and Milwaukee rematch from 2 years ago.
Right.
What about you, Big Body?
I'm gonna go a little different here. Yeah, I see what you guys are saying, and I agree to certain points. But you already know I'm with Boston. I like what they got going over there. We mentioned the Malcolm Brogdon addition offensively, but more so defensively, and then Robert Williams coming back later in the season. I think it's going to be great for them.
Absolutely.
But on the West Coast, on the West side, all in on Memphis last year. I love Ja, but we kind of touched them a little bit. Dallas, man. You got to remember, Dallas was in the Western Conference Finals last year. And now you add a good player, and maybe we can see him develop into a great player, and Christian Woods come over from Houston.
For sure.
I think Dallas, I mean, it's a little rocky right now, but I think as the season progresses, and Mark Cuban is not afraid to wheel and deal and make some moves when he sees, okay, I need an addition here. Let's do it.
I think you
So
got
Dallas.
4 or 5 teams that is trade deadline move away from changing the whole landscape.
Right.
Absolutely.
Sure.
As is, when you look at it, Phoenix is going to be right there.
Right.
But Phoenix is still going to be Phoenix when the playoff time
Playoff
comes.
comes, they're going to crumble.
Miami's got dudes, but
They're starting off slow too. And nobody's got Brooklyn with Email Udoka at coach now.
I'm good on that. Yeah, give me Dallas and Boston, man. It's probably gonna be, nobody's really gonna have that.
I like that.
Give me Dallas and Boston. Early season, we're still in the infancy stage, man. I mean, 82 games and not even 10 games.
the Bulls stay healthy. They could sneak in there too.
Bulls, hey, that's another one, man.
They got
and even though they're young, I like those Cleveland Cavaliers a lot, man. Especially when Darius Garland comes back, man. I think they could put a lot of pressure on some teams, man.
My sneaky team, you mentioned Orlando Magic getting into that playing conversation. My sneaky team now in the Eastern Conference to make a little noise similar to what we see in the past with Charlotte and years past with Atlanta and even Memphis a couple years ago is Detroit. We're talking about Detroit basketball. Cade Cunningham is year 2 now. We mentioned that we saw the growth with Ja was year 1 to year 2. We're going to see that with Cade.
I love JDino.
Bogdanovich addition there is giving them a dead-eye shooter. Now they lost some pieces, but a little sneaky team. Maybe that adds an addition in the trade deadline type vibe. So keep your eyes on Detroit.
So no triple crown with the Phillies, the Eagles, and the Sixers over Big J.
Hey, I'll say this about the Sixers. I think there's a confusion within their roster. Like, they want to play a certain way, but their roster forces them to play one way. Like, you got Joel Embiid and James Harden, who's slow it down, hand the ball, post up. James Harden wants to dribble. But Tyrese Maxey just wants to go.
He wants to fly.
He wants to fly.
Yeah.
And you're kind of seeing it there.
Bring him to Orlando.
Yo,
that's the player we need.
That's the guy.
But I think Philly's problem is Embiid is the most dominant big man in the game, but it ain't a big man game anymore.
It's not.
That's true.
And it's a shooter's, and really the last big man game was when we had Dwight in Orlando.
Right.
And we were on the fringe of that because really that offense changed. Stan Van Gundy's offense is what started getting the shooters going.
Very true.
And so it's
and Philly relied on their defense last year, and they're probably one of the worst defenses in the league right now. So
big time.
Yeah, I'm out on Philly. They got to figure out what they want to be. I like Detroit. I'm in on Memphis again, and I like Dallas, man, and Boston.
Yeah.
So still early though. A lot of things can change. I mean, right now the Blazers are second in the East.
Hey, actually, that's somebody I called out too, man. I said the Blazers will have a flipped around season. I love what they're doing over there, man. I love Jeremy
the flip
Grant
side of the Blazers.
and Josh Hart. I love those additions, man.
What about the Pelicans?
Yeah.
There you go.
They can score. They can't defend nothing, but they can score.
They just got to stay on the court.
They're
Brandon
fun.
Ingram and Zion already missing games.
They're fun.
So, yeah, definitely still early, man. But those are some really good predictions. Like them, man. That's all the time we got for today, gentlemen. Greg, appreciate you coming back for another one, man. Welcome back to season 2.
Jay.
Yes, sir.
Big body boy.
Go Birds. 8-0.
And thank you guys for watching. Make sure you check us out at sportjv.com. Support the merch. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you haven't yet, like and subscribe on YouTube. And as usual, got a quote from you guys. Since we talked about the Baltimore Ravens, got one from Ray Lewis. It has nothing to do with talent and everything to do with effort. Thank you guys for watching.